Welcome to another edition of Buffalo's Healthy Communities Show. My name is Phil Haberstrom, the Executive Director at the Wellness Institute of Greater Buffalo. We've got a really terrific show for you today, so I hope you'll grab a pen and pencil because we'll have some information we want to share with you. And my first guest to my very left here is Patricia Watson. Patricia is a member of the staff of the Erie County Department of Senior Services. But more than that, or in addition to that, I guess, right, Pat?
Yep.
She is also a member, a lead player in the Western New York Falls Prevention Coalition, right?
Yes.
Did I get that right, Pat?
Well, I think we're calling it a consortium, but
Consortium.
you definitely have the idea, Phil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Patricia, you're over at the Erie County Department of Senior Services. Maybe you could just share a little bit what you do over there and some of your interests.
Okay. Well, the Department of Senior Services in Erie County is dedicated to helping older people stay in their homes. Okay. So everything we do is geared to the programs and services that support people in maintaining their homes and maintaining themselves and doing everything you can do to be in the place you want to be as you grow older.
That's fabulous.
And so the kinds of services we'll offer, the primary one, the key one, is information. We've got a phone number, 858-8526, where we encourage people to call with any kind of question on housing, home care, meals, anything that can help a person enjoy their lives, stay in their homes. In addition to being able to provide information, though, we have what are called case managers, caseworkers, who go into the homes of the elderly and speak to them and their caregivers, their loved ones, talk about how they're managing and ways and things we can do to help.
That's fabulous. Now, let me get a sense professionally about yourself, a little bit about your own background.
Okay. Well, I've been at the department for 26 years, so that's a pretty
You're
big
a rookie.
piece. Yeah, and I love it. It's a great place. I'm a social worker. I have a master's degree in social work from UB.
Great.
Yeah. So.
And the department itself, I know over the years the Wellness Institute has partnered with it in many, many things, but certainly I would think part of your success in addressing the challenges is with partnerships.
Oh, yeah. I think Buffalo is a very special community, and I think one of the things we do very well is work together with each other to try to create a livable community and to maximize the resources for everybody.
Great.
Absolutely.
One of the challenges that recently we've seen and read and heard more about, of course, is that we have an aging population in our community. How does Buffalo and Erie County kind of fit into that picture?
Well, the fastest growing segment of the population is 85 and over.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah, but hopefully we'll get there, and in good health. And in this community, we're looking at a massive influx of older people. So we know very well we have to prepare for that.
Right. And this is, I know I've talked with my colleague Doug Ruff, and I know who you know from the city's Department of Senior Services. He tells me about the boomers and that generation coming forward and the kinds of implications that has.
And there's two ways you can look at it, Phil. You could say, oh my God, there's going to be so many older people. Or you could say, wow, there's going to be all these people with all this experience who know the community and have so many gifts, and boy, we're going to maximize that.
An asset-based approach.
Yeah,
I love it.
And it works.
Let's talk specifically then. We mentioned that you're very involved, that I know you're one of the team coaches. The Wellness Institute is a team in this Falls Prevention Consortium. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about that?
In this community, there's an organization called the Community Health Foundation of Western and Central New York, and they've taken the lead in pulling together people from all different walks of life, whether it's the university, hospitals, home care agencies, social agencies like mine, Wellness Institute like you, brought us all together and said, what is it we can do to reduce falls in our community?
Is there a lot of falls happening?
Yes,
I mean,
and we know falls are very expensive. I think anybody can recite somewhere along their lines where they've heard of someone who broke their hip, and that hip has resulted, unfortunately, in someone maybe never walking again, or perhaps even in mortality. Fear of falling is almost as bad as falling. If you're afraid of falling, what happens? You don't go out. You don't see people. You get lonely. Your health deteriorates. So the Community Health Foundation, recognizing this and recognizing the huge social as well as economic cost of falls, said let's bring our best our best ideas together and try to create a community intervention that looks at people individually and helps them to stop falling, and looks at the community and says, how do we prevent falls?
You know, and what I love about that too is, and kudos to Ann Monroe, the director of the Community Health Foundation. I love the fact that a community foundation has stepped up to the plate, because as we talked earlier, your department alone, Doug Ruffin's department alone, the Wellness Institute alone, we can't solve this challenge. We really need. And they brought everybody together. So they brought people together. What did they kind of find when they looked at the literature and the data and the things?
Well, preventing falls isn't simple. It's not like saying buckle up for safety, buckle up. There's many facets, and one of the things that's recommended is getting your vision checked. Second thing that would be recommended, obviously, is making your home as safe as possible. For example, if you're like me and you're too lazy to carry things upstairs, you put them on the stairs. Not a good plan. Throw rugs that slip and slide but look really pretty. Also not necessarily the best plan. So looking at your home to make it safe. Checking medications. Medications can have more than one effect. They can have the healthy therapeutic effect, but they may make you dizzy. They may affect your blood pressure when you stand. So seeing that whatever your medications are, they don't contribute to falls. And then number one, the most important thing is exercise. And we all know exercise is important, but in fall prevention, you want to create balance and strength.
And I know you've got some members of the consortium team. I think of Dr. Penny Klein, for example, from Deauville, who is working with that. There are now 10, is it, or 11 teams? 10 or 11?
There are 12 teams.
12 teams, all the way up to 12. Okay.
What happened was the Community Health Foundation funded 12 teams with some grants so that everybody could branch out into the community, into their area of expertise, and test different methods to see what helps to prevent falls. For example, there are people who are having classes, Tai Chi classes, for example, Penny Klein.
Right.
Strength, exercise, balance. There's educational programs like what you're involved with, Phil, where you go out and train people in the community to look for fall risks and correct them. I'm involved with a program where we work with people who are homebound. And
I know one of the great projects that all the teams and the foundation put together was this walkability audit. And we're going to roll a little B-roll here for you, for the audience to see, and you can see people they're walking. But here we are out. This is in the Schiller Park neighborhood. This was this fall. Earlier this fall, we were part of, I think there was about 12 teams across 14 teams across the community that were looking at not just, as you mentioned earlier, the home. You can see there, if I'm walking down that street, I may find myself with a little noggin on the head. That's what we're pointing out there. I'm not looking for a job as a forester, but the walkability of a community, Patricia, and there's an example, somebody's motorcycle, could force somebody onto the grass, and I think you'll see here, I'm showing that there's a little place where somebody's foot could turn and slip, etc. So you mentioned homes, you mentioned working with your pharmacist on your medications. Pat, the idea too then of the community being very walkable and safe for the people is very important. And one of the things AARP has been instrumental in doing nationwide is creating what they call walkability surveys. So the Community Health Foundation partnered with AARP. Yes.
And pulled together about 80 volunteers, Phil, on I think it was September 23rd. And 14 teams went out in 14 locations around Western New York. I was there, you were there with our clipboard, and we were checking things off. Yeah. And basically what we want to do is take a look. It's great to say people should walk in their communities, but people aren't going to want to walk if they've gotten to that street corner where you can't get across the street quickly enough before the light changes, or where the sidewalks are uneven and you've, like me, tripped and fallen and cut your knee open or whatever. And looking at safety, looking at how fast cars go. I worked in an area on the west side, Phil, near Santa Maria Towers with a team from that area. And we walked through the community, which is home to many elderly people, whether in housing, for seniors or in their own homes. And what we found was the sidewalks weren't in the greatest shape.
Sure.
And we found some buildings that were really almost frightening, that really need some attention. So what we did was we compiled this information, as did all the other teams, gave it to the Community Health Foundation. They're going to put together a compilation of all that information and hold a breakfast on November 6th, Phil.
Beautiful.
So people can see what we found and identify what the logical next steps for follow-up are.
Sure, and I think we've talked that it will be important, at least certainly in the city of Buffalo, to share that information with their with Street Commissioner Stephen Stepaniak and their council members to be sure that there's some follow-up.
Block clubs.
Do you want to give that phone number out again, Patricia, so that people know if you're interested in, we have a kit that we can send you?
We have a great brochure put together by the Fall Prevention Consortium, and it does give tips on ways to minimize your chance of falling. So if you'd like to get a copy of this brochure, as well as information on your County Department of Senior Services, what you can do is call this number, 858-8526, and we'll be so happy to send this out to you. In addition, if you'd like to attend a breakfast on November 6th at the Shanghai Reds restaurant at 8:30 in the morning to learn the results of the walkability study, if you call this number, we will give you the information of who you need to contact to speak to about that.
And one thing I want to point out, again, another great credit to the Community Foundation's effort here of Western New York. We also have that brochure in Spanish. So if you do need it in Spanish, we can get it for you too. Pat, we've only got a couple minutes left here, but can we just summarize again? You gave some great points about things people can do at their home to make their home safer. Could you go over those again?
Yeah, one of the things we emphasize, Phil, is light. For example, all of us, if you have to get up in the middle of the night, have a nightlight so that you're not, it's not in the dark. So when you get up, you don't trip over your slippers and go flying. Keep your stairs clear. Watch for throw rugs. If you're like me and you've got a little dog that sits on the stairs as you're going down, watch for that dog. How many people do you know who've tripped over their animals and broken their shoulder or their arm?
Right.
So you want to minimize any of the risks that you know in your home. Get your medications checked. Have your vision checked. Again, if like me, Phil, I don't know if you wear bifocals, but if you don't have them exactly right, when you look at those steps, there can be a gap. Yes. So again, have your vision checked is a very important thing.
And of course, one of the things you and I love to promote is a physically active
exercise.
lifestyle.
Absolutely.
So, well, I want to thank you, Patricia, for being here with us today, and we want to thank again the Community Health Foundation of Western New York for their support, and all the teams, frankly, that are out there working to make our community fall safe, if you would.
Our slogan, Phil, step up to stop falls.
Okay, stepping up to stop falls. We're going to take a break. My guest again has been Patricia Watson for the first half of the show from the Erie County Department of Senior Services and the Western New York Falls Consortium. But when we come back, we're going to be talking about a super project that I've known about for the history of about 15 years, the Massachusetts Avenue Project. So come back and join us, and we'll get you filled in on what's happening on Massachusetts Avenue. Thank you.
You should wear a tie.
Dad, nobody wears ties to school.
Tie says you're serious. It'll make a good impression. And remember, you're there to study,
to learn, and to make something of myself. I got it.
Almost half of all UNCF students are the first in their family to go to college.
They have some great architecture classes.
Dad, I'm not really interested in architecture.
Well, keep your options open. And remember, no girls until
my work is done.
And I'd make sure that I got my lunch.
Dad, you're not going. I am.
I know.
Listen, we better get going. Don't want to be late the first day anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're the first to go, you're going for a lot of people. The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Welcome back to Buffalo's Healthy Communities Show. I'm Phil Haberstroh, your guest from the Wellness Institute. I'm really excited about the second half of the show because to my left is a longtime friend, Diane Picard, who is the Executive Director of the Massachusetts Avenue Project. That's a lot for me to get out, Diane. How are you?
I'm great.
Great to have you with us.
Thanks.
Massachusetts Avenue Project, probably fairly well known in the city, but I have to tell you, I go back at least 15 years with it.
Yes.
With Eileen and Gary Wellborn and the late Councilman Carl Perla, in a meeting that I had with them. Eileen was upset. She lives on Massachusetts Avenue, and one of the children was actually playing with a shotgun shell. She found him pounding it on the street. There was apparently a drive-by shooting and a real concern that she had for the children and the safety on Massachusetts Avenue. So the Wellness Institute got involved early on, but since then you have just grown and done so much over there. Tell the audience a little bit about first yourself, Diane, and then we'll get into the project.
Sure. Well, I come from a long line of farmers in my family, and have always loved kind of getting my hands in the dirt. I have a undergrad degree in international agriculture and development from Cornell University, and then I went back and got a social work degree as well. So I've always done community work and really love being kind of in community at the grassroots level.
And I sort of sense knowing you over the years, but you steer me right here, but I always have recognized a passion in you for children.
Yes, definitely. Working with young people really energizes me, and I think there are so many young people in our community that just need a little direction and an opportunity to show their own strengths, and that's what we try to give them.
And that they can get, I'm guessing, at the Massachusetts Avenue Project.
Well,
I remember the project initially was housed over adjacent to the Butler Mitchell Boys and Girls Club, right? But now we have a new office.
Right. We're at 271 Grant Street. And we share that building with PUSH, People United for Sustainable Housing. And there's also kind of a community center that happens there in the afternoon. So there's resources for the community. But we still have our urban farm over on Massachusetts. So we're still definitely linked to the street.
The breadth and the depth of Massachusetts Avenue. First, I want to get the phone number out there. It's 882-5327 if people want to learn more about the project. But what kinds of things are you into these days? Share a little bit about the activities that you're doing.
Well, like you said, Phil, the project really started with a focus on youth and really providing alternatives for young people. And our programs have really evolved over the years, and currently we're really focused on really trying to get fresh, affordable food into communities that lack access to that, and also provide economic opportunities. And we try to do that by working with youth to train them as community leaders in really moving that forward.
We had talked earlier about the importance of collaboration, and I know that you've had some help, I believe, from the University of Buffalo.
Definitely.
In getting the picture of food access?
Yes. Since 2003, we've been working with Dr. Samina Raja at the university. And in 2003, she and her graduate students did a community foods assessment for us. So really looked at our community and how people access their food, where they get it, how affordable it is, how they get to it, and then did a plan for us in terms of increasing access. Because what she found in her study was that especially in low-income areas, getting fresh, affordable food is very difficult. In our neighborhood in particular, there's no big grocery store right in the neighborhood, so people end up shopping in a lot of little corner stores, or they go to the McDonald's around the corner, and they don't have a lot of really good options close to them. So the
part of the process, it sounds like then, Diane, is that you're teaching the children how to grow and garden,
Right.
which I love because that to me is going upstream and giving them those skills early on in life. And I'm always amazed. I'm not much of a green thumb myself, but how much you can get out of a small plot of land. I mean, you can really get a lot of fruits and vegetables out of that.
Yes, yeah. We have a half-acre urban farm over on the west side, and it's really just 7 lots that used to have houses on them. And this summer we grew about 2,500 pounds of fresh food that we distributed in the neighborhood. And part of what we're trying to do, as well as teaching young people how to grow their own food, is really reaching out to community members as well and training them how to grow their own food, and that even if they're a renter and they only have a porch, that they can grow things in containers. So our farm is slowly transitioning to a training facility for the community as well.
I understand now, if I go into some of the stores here in Buffalo, that I can find Massachusetts. So you have entrepreneurs, products that you salsa, some of those kinds of things.
Yeah, part of our youth program is really doing youth enterprise and training youth on how to write a business plan, how do they start their own business, and really learning those skills. And we do it in a real world way. So they develop recipes and create products, and right now they have 2 products. One is an amazing chili starter, which was our first product, and also a super duper salsa. And
you need to go see Drew Cerza at the Convention and Visitors Bureau. You know, he's made the chicken wing famous all over.
That's a great idea.
But I'm saying that Buffalo Foods are I saw in the paper the other day, you know, Buffalo branded foods, so that maybe that chili sauce will be the next big national one.
Definitely.
So we've got children learning to garden. We're doing job training in terms of entrepreneurial efforts and so on and so forth. But I also know that you've been a partner with us over at the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus, and we're working to address the issue of childhood obesity.
Right. We worked together, as you know, Phil, on the Healthy Eating by Design project, which was an 18-month pilot, working with Buffalo schools and trying to get healthier foods to youth in those schools. And I think from that, the success of that project, our partnership has really grown, and we're definitely continuing to look at the issue of childhood obesity and look at what kinds of policy changes we can make, and build the network of partners that are interested in working on that issue in Buffalo.
And I sense in the partnerships that you've had that there's been a balance to those. Not only the good nutrition, but I know you've worked with Justin Booth out of our office, and you've got the walkable, bicycle-friendly communities, so that the young people get the best of both worlds, if you would.
That's right. You can't just have active living or healthy eating. Those 2 things have to go together. And Justin's been a great partner, and we're really excited moving into the future to work more together on those issues.
And let's talk about the future a little bit for the Massachusetts Avenue Project. I want to kind of move a little bit here. You recently, I know it was a journey to get you there, but you became the executive director for the MAP, as it's known.
Yes.
How does that feel?
It's a little overwhelming, but it's great, and we're really excited about where the organization is going. I think we're developing networks with others. There's a community gardens task force at the city level that we've been working on, trying to secure more land for community gardens so people can grow their own food and have easier access. So we're working on building those networks. We started a mobile market this summer,
wonderful.
Which is a 1979 Winnebago that we ripped out the interiors, painted it bright purple, and we drive that to, yes, it's bright purple and bright green like an eggplant. And we take that to partners partner sites. One of them is Santa Maria Towers, which was mentioned in the previous
Wonderful.
episode. And we sell fresh organic food to people at an affordable price.
Now,
in low-income
one of my
areas.
staff, Amy Higgins, is a vegetarian. Now, you got to tell me, when I was a kid, you know, like spinach and artichokes, I had a tough time with them. Do the kids today eat those things?
They do, you know. At first, sometimes they turn up their noses, but if we do a lot of cooking with our kids and a lot of taste testing, and if you can sometimes dare them to try it or make it a fun game, sometimes they'll try it and they'll be surprised. And a lot of the teenagers, especially, we see, they really care about their health, and they are very interested in making changes in their diet around healthy things.
And it's so important. I know that you have worked with the City of Buffalo school system
Yes.
and to efforts to improve the nutrition there, and of course then again educating the parents or guardians of the children to make sure that they know what is necessary to eat healthy, if you would, in that direction. But eating healthy doesn't, you know, sounds like that chili, that sounds awfully exciting and flavorful to me. So it doesn't have to be, you know, sort of, oh, Phil,
Right.
you know, and so on and so forth. That's great. So we talked a little bit, and we want to kind of wind down here, Diane. So what is in the future for the Massachusetts Avenue project? If you could look down the road 5 years from now, what you and your board, I know you work closely with them, where do you hope to be?
Well, we're in the process right now. Part of our strategic plan is to establish an urban farms development center, and that will really be a place for community gardeners, urban farmers, and just residents who want to grow their own food to come and get training around how to do those things. If they're just interested in, you know, learning how to compost, or if they want to start a small aquaponics project in their basement, you know, we'll have training for that. If they want to keep chickens in their backyard, we'll have training for that. So we're really, you know, moving towards being a training facility to help foster healthy eating in the city.
And it sounds like, in that larger sense of things, that the sustainability of these things, the fact that a family can have a garden in their backyard that for years can provide them with fresh fruits and vegetables is really an important piece of improving food security, I think, is the way that it's phrased.
Yes.
Well, I want to congratulate you on the Massachusetts Avenue project. Such great work you're doing in our city. And again, I want to give the phone number out for you. 882-5327. Diane Picard is the executive director there. She's got a great staff, Zoe and all of the teammates that are over there, and Aaron and everybody that are helping. And they're on Grant Street.
We are on Grant Street, 271 Grant Street.
And thanks to Councilmember Rivera, I know,
Yes,
too, and the support
definitely.
from the mayor's office for all the good things that they're doing. Well, we're going to wrap up. We talked today about two important topics. One, how you can prevent falls. And again, I'll go back to that. If you're interested in getting the free falls prevention kit that you can get, you can call 858-8526 and just request that. And again, if you want to learn more about the exciting things that are happening at the Massachusetts Avenue project on Grant Street, please call and ask for Diane Picard at 882-5327. I want to thank you for being with us, and we wish you a healthy and fit week.